I'm going to be tag teaming this one with my British octopus-looking mate Omegon. You ready, Omegon?
I'm as ready as I'll ever be. Let's do this.
Ready as you'll ever be? Come on, cunt, get excited. Like Pointer Sisters excited.
I'm so excited, and I just can't hide it.
Fine.
Alright, well, let's just get into it and hopefully you'll perk up along the way.
Have you ever read an article about sexism in the media and then made the horrible mistake of scrolling down into the comment section? Because if you have, then you've seen someone trying to derail that conversation with demands of "what about the men?"
Or somebody providing evidence to back up a claim and then being personally attacked and the evidence ignored, because that's what people do. And how do I know this? I've never read the comment section at all.
Now, the last thing the guys who are making that demand really want to do is have a serious discussion about the sometimes harmful ways that media represents masculinity.
Because naturally you're going to get so much done in the comments section of a news article. Also, I would like to point out to you, some of those media portrayals of masculinity come from feminists trying to understand masculinity or trying to ostracize a certain type of masculinity and failing magnificently.
That's putting it lightly. And Jonathan, when exactly would feminists like to have a chat about the most of the time harmful ways that feminists represent themselves?
And they especially don't want to have that conversation if it's inspired by feminism.
Oh, but Jonathan, if I was to start up a GoFundMe right now to have you come onto a stream and debate feminism with me or discuss feminism, equality, masculinity, you'd be the one that wouldn't show up. We that do not identify as feminists, we that are critical of it, would call you out, but you would hide behind a block.
And so, that's exactly what this project is going to do.
Whoa, look out popularity. Once Jonathan starts making videos about toxic masculinity, or whatever the fuck he's talking about, he's going to be the coolest cat in town. I'm talking like ultra pussy magnet.
Hi there, I'm Jonathan.
Hi Jonathan, I'm Megan. That's Bearing.
Hi Jonathan!
It's an absolute pleasure to talk to you.
I'm a pop culture critic and video producer.
And I am a humble narcissist.
And I'm pretty much just a cunt with a YouTube channel.
I've been making online videos about social and political issues for over a decade now.
What he means is that he's the douche that's been coming up with the pure bullshit that Anita Sarkeesian's been dribbling for 10 years.
Today, I'm excited to build on that work with a brand new series.
So it'll be a video series with set dates, with all the videos put out on time, like the last one you were involved in.
This one will focus on deconstructing the representations of masculinity that we see embedded in movies, TV shows, comic books, and video games.
What is your obsession with men and masculinity? Why does it offend you so much that masculinity exists?
Yeah, he does have an obsession with talking about men, doesn't he? It's almost like he wants to be one.
The messages that pop culture sends to boys and men about masculinity are consistently both limiting and harmful.
Wow. The disdainful look on your face when you said boys and men was amazing.
At this point, we're all familiar with the standard media conventions. Men are typically shown as either stoic heroes who use violence to solve all of their problems, or as bumbling fools who are incapable of nurturing or caregiving.
You left out villain, but that doesn't matter too much.
And anyway, that's a load of shit. Every time you change the fucking channel, you come across some V-neck t-shirt wearing sensitive cunt talking about issues and shit with some airheaded broad.
I just feel like I'm stuffing everything up at the moment. Sorry.
Hey. Rick, it's me, alright? You don't have to apologise for anything.
See? Have a go at this prick's V-neck. He's a fucking sensitive guy, this one.
If you want to cry, you just cry.
Thanks.
That's what I'm here for.
And pussy. He's here for pussy too.
You always know what to say.
With all the conflicting media messages out there, it's not surprising that a lot of young men are very confused about what it means to be a real man.
And you're gonna teach him, are you, Jonathan?
In the near future, I'll be looking at how manhood is framed by the Jedi Order in George Lucas's 6 Star Wars films.
Do you think he knows there's a 7th film and an 8th currently in production? Also, do you think he knows that Lucas nearly fucked the 3 prequel films, especially when he introduced midi-chlorians?
God, get a room, you two, and watch Star Wars in it. Before, while, and after you fuck. Fucking Star Wars.
And then later, I'll be investigating some of the harmful ideas about geek masculinity that we find on the Big Bang Theory.
You really do have a knack for annoying everyone, don't you, Jonathan?
There is nothing harmful about those nerds on the Big Bang Theory. They are completely innocent while whimsically humorous and extremely horny. You can't really blame them though. That blonde chick, brrr.
But this project won't only focus on the negative. I'll also be producing a series of videos that look at positive examples of manhood in the media. The first of those positive episodes explores emotional expression on the Cartoon Network series Steven Universe.
You know what? I see no problem in giving people the opportunity to understand themselves, but this does seem a little forced. Now I'm a little curious. Is the TV show being supported by feminist frequency like the 8-pixel game was that did oh so well?
A little further down the line, I'll also be looking at the remarkable ways that empathy and also fatherhood are represented on that show.
And if your production rate is as good as feminist frequencies, I can expect this to be out in 2026.
These episodes will be long-form video essays, between 10 and 20 minutes long.
So I keenly await Sargon of Akkad to do a shitlord stream that lasts 5 hours with some of our very favourite content creators that despise you.
I fell asleep when I was on one of them once. It was about Anita Sarkeesian bullshitting on about strategic arse coverings or some shit. It was like 4 in the morning and gaming's not really my thing. But don't let that put you off, Sargon. I'd be like your star player against this fag.
That longer format really allows me the opportunity to delve into how culture is impacted by media and vice versa, how media is impacted by culture.
I would much rather watch you get spanked by Anita.
I'll also be making some shorter videos to supplement the longer ones. Some of those will be debunking sexist myths, and others will be defining commonly misunderstood terms.
I can see it now. Jonathan McIntosh, debunking extraordinaire. Not.
Now, there are more than a few YouTube channels that claim to be concerned about men. Unfortunately, most of them are aggressively anti-feminist, and they just spend their time scapegoating and blaming women for everything.
Seems you haven't quite made it yet, Bering. You're not good enough to feature on Macintosh's Macincuck list. Sorry, mate.
One day. I know it'll take hard work, but I'm willing to be the biggest cunt I can be until I'm up there too.
I'd put money on you, Jonathan, having never seen a single video by those 4 men. Instead, you would have just googled famous anti-feminist YouTubers and found 4 fucking white men.
You're fucking a white male!
My new channel will be an alternative to that growing trend.
I'm actually excited to see how it turns out. Perhaps if you get big enough, you'd go on a live stream with one of those 4 anti-feminists. Or perhaps another one who has hosted feminists on his channel. One who is currently allowing me to speak on his channel.
You're speaking on my channel now, you fucking... Oh, yeah, that sounds like fun.
The critical analysis that I'll be using is very much inspired by feminist theory. It's through that lens that I'll be looking at the ways that boys and men are harmed as a byproduct of hypermasculinity.
It sounds to me like you drank the poison Kool-Aid and an additional dose of window cleaner before you started recording this. Feminist theory is not going to tell you much about the supposed hypermasculinity.
So my hope is that this video series can help open up conversations about how we, as men, can work together to achieve more constructive, cooperative, and empathetic forms of masculinity.
If you didn't live inside an echo chamber 24/7, you'd probably notice people on social media debating all the time. Not just on Twitter or on Facebook, but you'd also see them on YouTube live streams debating differences in opinion. And masculinity does come up. We are all different, and that's fine. But you're such a coward you refuse to engage with us.
Yeah, well said, mate. It'd be an interesting debate to have, but something tells me he's just going to keep talking about starting conversations without actually engaging anyone but those who will echo his faggy sentiments back to him. Thanks for joining me. There's a link to Omegon's channel in the description. Go and say hello to him. Now, before we fuck off, let's look at this. Funny little world and my mixed up brain, drinking too much biscuit and fried again. Weekend's coming up in a couple of days, I'm gonna get fucked up in so many ways. What if we could see wasn't necessarily reality? The sky was in the sea and the sea was in the sky where the sun should be. Come on! I rock up to my mates and there's powder on the table, but my nose is so damn